Hello friends, welcome to Senior Coding Web Development Platform. In today's session, we are going to learn a simple weather app created by using the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Here we are going to use the concept of Open Weather Map API for the data. As we already know, the API is generally used to generate many things. To find out the weather forecast for each area and each city, we are going to use this API key. So that is very important, and we are going to see how we are going to generate in HTML and CSS and JavaScript in the Xenier platform. Without delay, we can start the session. I'm just going to see the example. In this, you can able to find out where I'm just typing the city name and I'm just clicking the button. It shows the city and their date and even their day with their respective degree. It has been mentioning over here. Similarly, you can try for the other city. I'm just typing with the other city and just clicking the enter button, where you can able to see it shows a respective degree also. I'm choosing with some other city, and maybe I'm trying for some other country. Maybe I'm trying for, so I'm just trying for some other city. So based on the city, it is generating their date, day, and as well as with their respective degree also it is mentioning. Let's see what are the source code is required to execute this program. So I'm just going to make my under the body part, I'm going to process the classes of division class, which is equivalent to app wrap. So this app, it is nothing but where it used to process. I'm just making this to be as a smaller case. This is also I'm just converting as a smaller case. Okay, so this is over. Next, I'm going to on the continuation of this, I'm just going to add my header. So under the header, I need my input type. Just recollect with the example, we have typed the city name, no? For this, I'm just going to make definitely my input type could be the text basis, and I'm making their auto complete. So under the auto complete, I'm going to set it as off. So next, I'm going to make my class where I'm going to insert the search boxes. So whatever the data which required here, I'm just going to implement here. I'm just adding as a search box. So next on the placeholder, I'm just making here as type here. Type here. And I'm just closing this tag. So next I have done with my header tag. So you can able to see over here. So this is my search box. Under the search box, we have created this one. And so next I'm going to create the function basis, which comes under the main. So under the main basis, I require to add different section. For this, I'm going to use a tag of section class. It should contain my location. And under the division of class, I'm going to add as my city, and I'm going to add my division class of date. I'm just closing this one. So next time I have done with my section. So this is over. Again, I'm going to continue with my section class of where it should show my current temperature and the respective image also need to be processed. For this, I'm just making a section class which is equivalent to current. and I'm making their division class of temperature. Next, I'm just closing this one. So respect to current city or location should show their image also. For this, I'm just making an attribute of image source, which is equivalent to empty basis, where it should gives my alteration of empty one. So I'm just going to add with my class of weather icon. So I'm adding this one and just closing this tag. So next I'm going to add the division class of container. That is under this I'm just adding as weather. I'm closing this one. So next I'm going to add my division class of, which is high, low. I'm closing this one. So I'm just closing this section and I'm done with my main part. So under this I'm just closing my division also. Next, the functionality is required. For this, I'm going to create the script source, which is equivalent to my file name is script.js, and I'm closing this tag. So now my HTML part is over. Then we need to go for the filing part, that is the scripting is required. I'm just placing my file name. So now my JS part is created. So here the functionality is required. As I already mentioned, we need to process the respective constant of API key. For this, I'm just going for my respective URL of api.openweather.organization. So I am just going with my API. Under this, you can able to see this. Just copy this link and you can able to find out the key on the below basis. Just copy their key and their respective base. Once copy is done, in the sense you can go through with your respective HTML part, JavaScript part, and just copy over here, and it will fetch the details of all the cities and locations with their current updated temperature will be shown over on my platform. So I have copied my API key as well as my base. So you can able to see over here I have mentioned the API key as well as the respective bases I also mentioned over here. Next, on the continuation, I have done my constant search box where it should search from the first select of this search box, and this search box we are going to add listener, that is after pressing the key, any key press, it should give the respective information. For example, if I'm clicking any city name, in the sense it used to fetch their respective details. For this, we are going to write the function. I'm just making here as function get results. It should display my result of their respective query. In this, the query, it means the respective city name or location, and it should fetch my details of. I'm just adding the quote, double quote, and it should process my API base. On the API basis, it should show my weather, and I'm just checking with the condition where I'm assigning with the variable of Q, and it should store my query. So under this, I'm just closing this part where I'm going to make it as their units I'm going to make as metric and language, which is delimited, and I'm just adding with my app ID where it should store so where I'm going to add under this app ID of dollar, it should represent my API key. So I'm just closing this one. I'm just closed with my statement. So this is over. So on the continuation of this, I'm just going to make where they have to return the functionality of return weather dot JSON, and I'm closing this functionality, and I'm just making as then display results. So again I'm going to process the function. It should display my result of function display my results of weather so I'm just closing this, and I'm making as let my city, which is equivalent to document, and it should select from the query basis query selector where it should select my location and their city. So I'm just closing this content statement. Next, it should show my respective current date. For this, as we already know, we have to use let now equivalent to new date. So I'm using this. Again, I'm going to write it for data. We need to functionality. We need to display on my output. For this, I'm just making as let date is equivalent to document, and it should select from the query basis of query selector where it should give the relevant details of location and their respective date. So I'm just closing this statement. Again, it need to display my temperature. For this, I'm just creating as let temperature is equivalent to document dot query selector where I'm making as their current. I'm just creating current dot temp. I'm just closing this statement, and I required the weather icon where I'm placing as let weather icon. Maybe you can use the underscore, which is equivalent to document dot query selector, and I'm making here as current dot weather. Maybe it should display my weather icon. So I'm just closing this statement. So next I'm going to make my weather EL. This EL, it is nothing but where it should show my the query selector of current and their respective weather. So I'm just making as let weather underscore EL, which is equivalent to document dot query selector, and I'm making here as and I'm just making here as dot current dot whether this particular thing is created. I'm just declaring. So next I'm going to make let high low, which is equivalent to document dot query selector, and I'm making the statement of current dot high underscore or hyphen low. Again, I'm going to make the animation. If required, you can create the animation, or else you can skip this particular statement. So I'm just going to make my thing as animation basis. So I'm making it as animation dot class list, where it should add from the listener. For this, I'm just adding dot add, and it should make as fade in. So I'm just closing this statement. Next, for the respective city, it should take from my inner HTML. Under my inner HTML, it should represent my weather and their name. I'm just closing this, and again it should show my, I'm just assigning the value. For this I'm using the dollar sign, and where it should show my weather and their system country. So this is over. So I'm just closing this part. Again I'm closing this statement. So next we need to write for the date. We have done for the animation. Next we need to process for date. Under the date it should process my inner HTML, where it should build my date. I'm just making as date builder. I'm declaring the statement as date builder, and it should show my current date. For this I'm using the function of now. So again on the continuation, I just want my temperature also want to be displayed. For this I'm making as a temperature dot inner HTML, which is equivalent to dollar, where it should assign my value, and it since we know temperature it represents normally with a decimal basis where we want to round off. I'm going to use a functionality of math round, and it have to show my weather, and it should store on the main basis of temperature. So I'm just closing this functionality. Again it should add my inner element in element, that is span, and it should represent my degree. For this I'm using the ampersand symbol, which is in the form of Celsius basis. Maybe if required you can add Fahrenheit. I am going to use on the Celsius basis. Now this in element is over. I'm just closing this tag, and I'm closing this part. So hope this is you can able to understood. You can able to understand. So on the continuation of this, I'm going to add one more thing, that is weather underscore el dot inner text, where it should make my weather, and it should add my weather index of 0, and it have to make my description, and where it should follow my high and high low of inner text. Under this I'm going to make as my dollar and I'm processing as math dot round. I'm making it as weather dot main dot temperature underscore minimum value should be represent. I'm closing this curly brace and it should represent on the Celsius. That should be divided off. The same thing is I'm going to repeat. Instead of minimum value, it should represent my maximum. I'm just copying this one, or else we can repeat this part. That is, I'm going to use a dollar sign. So under the dollar sign, I'm just making as math dot round. I'm opening this weather dot main dot temp underscore maximum value should be represent, and just closing this one and closing it should represent it on the Celsius basis. So this is over. I'm just closing the statement. So next we need to process for the function for data builder. I'm going to write the functionality as function. I'm making it as date builder. I'm going to declare the here as D as an event, where I'm making my let month. Under the month we know like we have like a 12 months, no? So I'm just going to make as for each month I'm going to create, that is January, comma February, and similarly I'm going to repeat for my days of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday and so on. So let's see and continue this. So on the continuation, I have created my months, days, and for the days I have used my get day. It should represent my get day, that is it should represent whether it is Friday, Saturday, Sunday or Monday. It should represent my date of either it is 21st, 22nd or 23rd, and it will represent my month and year. For this I am using the output as a return. Since it want to represent the output value, I am using the statement of return. So this is a functionality we have used over here. We have used the API key, we have used the search box, we have set up the query basis, and we need to find out the result. For this we have used the concept of get result and the query. To display the result, we have set up the set of instruction of city, now, date, temperature and so on. And for the data builder, we have fixed the month, date and so many. On the under the HTML part, these are the basic things which we added. You can able to see over here. Let me see on the styling part. On the styling basis, it is up to your wish. You can add according for each part. Commonly, I am declared my margin as a 0 basis and padding as 0 and box sizing as border box. Next, for the body tag, I have added the display as a flex and justify content as center and font family as sans serif. Next, I have made their height to be as 100 virtual height and their background could be as RGBA, which is 2,0,36. Next, for the background, I have added the linear gradient with the degrees as I mentioned. Next, for the class of app wrapper, I have used my display as a flex and a direction to be column and margin to be autumn, width to be 50% and top to be 50%. Next, I have inserted the background image, border radius, box shadow and backdrop filter too. So next, for the class of header, I have made my display as a flex, justify content as center, align item as a center and padding of 50 pixel, 15 pixel and 15 pixel. Next, for the header input, I have used my width of 100%, max width of 200 pixel, padding of 10 pixel. And this is your convenient, you can add according to you. I'm just used this thing, does not mandate to follow this part. Under the header input focus, I have used the background color. Again, for the Main, I have used the flex, padding, display, flex direction, align item, and text align. Next for the class of location of city, where I have used the color, font size, font width, margin bottom. Next for their date, I have used their color and font size. Next for their temperature, I have used their color, font size, font width, margin, text shadow. Next for their temperature, I have used my font width. So next for their weather, I have used my color, font size, font width, font style, margin bottom and text shadow. So next for the class of high-low, I have done my color, font size, font width and text shadow. So this is my CSS part. We can able to see on the output where we are going to enter the city name. It should show my respective date and their respective degree it should represent. Let me see whether it is executing or not. So I am just typing the city name. I'm just clicking the enter button where it shows my respective day, timing and their respective temperature which is in the form of Celsius. Here the image is also reflecting, you can able to see. So we have created this simple weather app in the web development by using the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Hope this session gives a clear picture about using the API concept also. So you can try this particular platform. You can try this particular source code. If you have any doubt in the sense, we have mentioned the below description. You can utilize the source code over there and you can enjoy this particular thing. And we can see on the next interesting video. Until, thanks for watching this video and thanks for your support. Thank you.